The Metro Rail conductor often waves to Austin Neal when he's hanging out in his garden. When Austin moved to Austin in 2008, he was thrilled to find a house across the track, just a bike ride to the station. Even though Texas gardening was new to him, commuting by train was familiar ground.
I moved here from Washington, D.C., and the plant palette here is quite different than the East Coast. So I spent a couple of years just trying to learn everything and understand drought tolerance and water efficiency so that, we don't waste our precious resource.
Now a Travis County Master Gardener, he helps others unravel the mystery he faced.
I love being outside, I love plants, I love learning stuff. I grew up on a peach apple orchard. My grandparents had a little orchard kind of as a hobby, but I spent lots of time with them.
With creative energy and hard work, he transformed the Stark lot.
All that was here was the 2 pecan trees and 1 hackberry tree around the corner. This is kind of an odd lot with the house. The house is actually set very far back on the lot. So I really don't have a backyard per se, just like 10 to 15 feet back there.
To turn the front into an outdoor living courtyard, he designed a patchwork fence with cedar fence discards. Street side, he planted low-water charmers that entice neighbors to stop for a chat about what he's growing. Cattle panel windows support wildlife-loving flowering vines.
I enjoy meeting people, and so I was always drawn to be outside. I kind of designed the fence around being able to interact with people as well, because my neighbors are walking by all the time and they'll peek through the windows and they'll say, "What are you doing today?" And, we'll have a nice conversation. There are 6 different design panels. If you look closely, you'll see a repetition about 3 times of the different panels, and it's kind of a patchwork thing, which I like to think is a homage to my great-grandmother, who was a quilter.
In the courtyard, Austin turned empty space into layers of distinct compartments, further defined by diverse plants and materials. Young trees promise shade as the elderly pecans decline. Austin chose Ipe for his boardwalks.
It's extremely hard, and I found that it's a little bit hard to work with because it's so hard. You have to have carbide tip blades, you have to pre-drill everything.
Decomposed granite provides compacted walking space and self-appointed welcome additions. To fend off pernicious weeds from below, he installed commercial-grade weed barrier. For topside invaders, he keeps on top of it.
If you just keep on it like every week or so, just do a little weed here, a little weed there, it's not that hard. I mean, for the most part, the granite, it compacts, but it's still permeable. When the rain comes, it seeps in, which I think is important because we have so many sidewalks and streets that don't absorb the water.
Raised beds counterpoint straight lines with angular footprints to strengthen dimension. The steel version hosts food and evergreen structural plants that attract pollinators with their flowers. Untreated cedar beds support seasonal and perennial crops.
Really, I only do supplemental watering in the raised beds over there for the vegetables, and I use what's called an Oya. It's a Native American way to water their crops. It's a clay pot, and it's buried, and it holds about 2.5 gallons of water. And slowly over time, the water seeps out and slowly waters the root system. I use about 5 gallons of water per week to water my vegetables.
For a hangout from another perspective, Austin's constructing a deck with a little help from his friends.
They know if they come over, they're going to get an assignment. And one of the goals that I had in the deck was to not be able to see any screws. I wanted a really clean look. And so I use a biscuit that's designed for use with Ipe to put it all together. There were a couple of contractors involved that helped me do some of the foundation work for the deck and some of the groundwork for the fence. But I worked out a deal with one of my welders that I would be his assistant for a few days while he built something. And he kind of taught me how to weld, and I went off and bought a welder and on my merry way, I guess.
And what's a winding down spot without water?
The fish trough got put in there, and right now there is a temporary pond that it spills into. Ultimately, it'll be a concrete pond, but right now it's just a pond liner. And I like the different shapes. So we have the rectangular shape of the trough, and then the lower pond is kind of square.
Next up, a round pond below the deck. Another definition for textural variance is a patch of lawn. It's a cool romp spot for Zephyr, a plot hound from the Humane Society. Winter rye was a temporary measure until Austin seeds a native lawn of blue grama, curly mesquite, and buffalo grass. Austin kept other creatures in mind when he planted.
I think that wildlife is really important to have. We're sharing that space. We're sharing our space here on Earth with them. So I think it's important that we accommodate them and give them some things that they need. They need water, they need shelter, and they need food.
He makes sure they have food all year long, in every life cycle. Caterpillars nailing his plants don't spook him. He's thrilled that the next generation of Gulf fritillary butterflies have already found his garden.
And if you look closely, they're hatching and eating and really, enjoying their little lives. But I think it's important that there's that relationship that we have with Earth and with nature, and we need to help each other. I'm not that fond of dill, but the caterpillars love it. And so I just kind of leave it, and every year it's gone to seed and it moves about 10 feet. But, it's kind of part of the fun.
On a modified mobile, he gave old wasp's nest their due respect for craftsmanship.
They don't bother me, and I don't really bother them, and they go about their business, and they have their families, and they pollinate, they do good things, and they eat bugs. But then at the end of the season, we have these used nests, and so I kind of knocked them down, and I thought, wow, let's try to do something with these.
So he sewed them onto the mobile.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's part of nature.
Living things mean a conversation, not a monologue, like with this horsetail.
I tried to confine it to one little certain spot, and it decided, this doesn't work. So I kind of like how it just kind of spreads on its own and does its own thing. Humans try to compartmentalize everything, and compartmentalization may not work all the time.
Sometimes he does have to rework an idea. When he found $1 roof tiles from Habitat for Humanity, he lined them with weed barrier and topped with soil. This works out great for succulents. Not so well for the lettuce he first tried. Austin combines sensitivity to a plant's needs with respect for limited resources, both water and his time.
One of the things about living in my yard is you don't get a lot of protection. It's kind of you're on your own. I'll help you for the first couple of years, but you need to fend for yourself, and we'll see what Mother Nature does.